Oh, baby, yeah. It's the final round. It's the final destination. Welcome to That's Good Sports. I'm Brandon. I refuse to cut my hair perna, and it is voting day at themilehighreport.com. There's a link in the description, or you can simply go to milehighreport.com, select the 2018 Mile High Report Media Madness Bracket Championship Round, click the click here to cast your vote text, and then you vote for me to defeat Terrell Davis for the second year in a row. Terrell Davis won back-to-back Super Bowls, and I want to know what it feels like to win back-to-back something as well. But instead of making today about me or about Terrell Davis, I want to use this video to talk about Steve Atwater. Terrell Davis actually sent me a direct message saying, "Hey Brandon, this is Hall of Fame running back Terrell Davis. I'm a big fan of your work, you big dick playa, you. Anyway, good luck in the tournament tomorrow. I know you'll probably win, but if you could take the time to make a video talking about all the reasons that Steve Atwater shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame, that would be great. I really want some breathing room with this gold jacket. If he gets in next year, everyone will forget about me. Any help would be greatly appreciated. P.S. This is not a request, it's a demand. If you do not obey me, I will gut you like the slimy fish you are. Consider me your Michael Shannon from The Shape of Water. Love, Terrell Davis." That is real, everybody. That is a direct message from Terrell Davis. I feel like I have no other choice but to follow Terrell's orders out of fear for my life. And here are a bunch of reasons Steve Atwater should never, ever, ever, ever be inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. You may remember that two NFL safeties made it as finalists to be inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame this year. Brian Dawkins, former Eagle and Denver Bronco, and John Lynch, former Tampa Bay Buccaneer and Denver Bronco. And unlike Steve Atwater, they didn't suck at the position. Brian Dawkins was the only safety to be inducted into the Hall of Fame with the 2018 class, because he was probably the best of all three safeties. Also, it should be noted that Dawkins and John Lynch have a better chance of getting inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame because they finished their career with the Broncos. If you remember, Steve Atwater finished his career with the goddamn Jets. The New York Jets. The team that just traded ahead of the Broncos to fuck them in the draft. Sure, Steve Atwater played in 3 Super Bowls, winning 2 with his team. Who cares if he sacked Brett Favre and forced a fumble on the biggest stage on the football planet? Or knocked 3 guys out of the game, including himself with 1 deadly hit.
And the throw incomplete. Atwater just killed Randy Hilliard.
Brian Dawkins never even played in a Super Bowl, which is kind of weird because the team with the best safety always wins the Super Bowl. We all know tackling stats are overrated. That's why it doesn't even matter that Steve Atwater has more tackles than Dawkins and Lynch, even though he played in 4 fewer seasons than Lynch and 5 fewer than Dawkins. Atwater had 1,180 total tackles in 164 games. That's 7.19 tackles per game. Brian Dawkins averaged 5.8 tackles per game, and Lynch 4.7 to match his jersey number 47. They tackled less because they worked smarter, not harder. Lynch and Dawkins both played in 224 games because they're both not giant weenie babies who had to retire after a mere 11 seasons in the NFL. I mean, concussions didn't even exist when Steve Atwater played, so he has no excuse for not playing 16 seasons like Dawkins. And when you look at interceptions, Dawkins had 37 in his career, Lynch 26, and a lowly 24 for Steve Atwater. Interceptions didn't matter when Steve played because teams only threw on 3rd downs. So forget the fact that they were harder to come by. They just weren't important. That's why even though Steve played in 57 fewer games than Dawkins and Lynch, his high number of tackles and interceptions are irrelevant. I didn't even mention Steve Atwater's crazy political beliefs. He is adamantly anti-immigration, and that is the real reason he basically ended Christian Okoye, the Nigerian Nightmare's career with 1 hit. As soon as Steve found out Okoye was born in Nigeria, he was like, "It's time to make America great again, mother lover." Well, I've got 3 words for you, Steve. Stick to sports. Sure, Steve Atwater was John Lynch and Brian Dawkins before John Lynch was John Lynch or Brian Dawkins was Brian Dawkins. But why should the Pro Football Hall of Fame care about history? The Hall isn't about accurate history for the NFL. It's about tricking people into visiting Canton, Ohio once a year and forcing grown men to wear ugly gold jackets that literally match nothing. Those gold jackets are the greatest assault on fashion since the assassination of Versace. In 2016, Atwater actually made it to the finalist list, and I already talked about Steve and his stats in a video from 2016. Roll it! However, I do not think you can put John Lynch in the Hall of Fame before you induct Steve Atwater. That would be like inducting Luke Skywalker into the Jedi Hall of Fame before Yoda. It would be a giant disservice to the history of the safety position. Steve Atwater was a pioneer defining how the strong safety position is currently played. When Hall of Fame finalist John Lynch arrived in Tampa Bay to play for Hall of Fame finalist head coach Tony Dungy, the Buccaneers defensive backs coach Herm Edward pulled out tape of Steve Atwater, showed it to John Lynch, and said, "This is how we envision you playing." That information comes directly from John Lynch's mouth. I can't, Seeing that clip is sobering. I'm sorry, Terrell. I am sorry, Terrell Davis. But you can threaten my life, you can threaten my family, but you cannot threaten my career. And not just because I don't have one, but because here on That's Good Sports, I bow to no one. Steve Atwater does deserve to be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So does Dawkins and Lynch, but mostly Steve Atwater first. They were all great. And it is tough for safeties to get into Canton because even though all 3 of those guys were violent hitters, the word safety makes them sound like cowards. I'm here for the safety, guys. Let's just have a safe game. Those are the guys that don't get into the Hall of Fame, unfortunately. Look, the NFL Network named Steve Atwater the 4th best Bronco of all time. The guys in front of him, Elway, Sharp, and Davis, all in the Hall of Fame. I'm not sure why Bubby Brister isn't on that list, but whatever. Atwater should be there. He was selected to 8 Pro Bowls, was a 2-time first-team All-Pro, a second-team All-Pro, and once went undefeated on Madden, playing All-Pro for 3 straight seasons. I'm vouching for Steve, even though Terrell Davis has threatened my life. I'm vouching for Steve, even though the Broncos gave him a radio show before me. I am vouching for Steve because anyone who could play in an NFL secondary with shoulder pads that big deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. I am vouching for Steve because I just found out Terrell Davis is breaking several child labor laws by forcing his daughter to lift weights at his place of employment, the NFL Network. Did she get paid for that hard work? The answer is no. So I hope you learned an important lesson today. Steve Atwater should be in the Hall of Fame. I think my message was pretty clear. Steve should not be in the Hall of Fame, but not really, he should definitely be in it. And it's with journalistic clarity like that I believe I deserve to get the final vote in the Media Bracket Challenge and go on to win back-to-back tournaments. And I know I have your support, because I do have more Big Dick Patreon shout-outs for Mithune, Dave Ford, Jenna King, Kyle Heckman, Logan B. Taylor, Dustin, Market Snatch, monster cocking his way to a $20 donation. Thank you, Market Snatch. Chase Gordon, Simon Gerardo, and AJ Avanti. Look, this race is neck and neck, everybody. Terrell Davis and I are going back and forth, so I need your vote now, more than ever. You only have until the end of the day to vote today, Monday, March 19th. So get those votes in. There's a link in the description, and let me remind you, the last time you made me a champion, Terrell Davis got into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. If you put me in as champion again, guess who else is going to the Hall of Fame? Steve Atwater. Not that he deserves to, but Steve Atwater. Thanks for watching another episode of That's Good Sports. Please subscribe here on YouTube. I'm on Twitter at Brandon Perna. If you see this video on Facebook, share it. And those are the rules of the game. And that game is struggle your way through YouTube until you own the world. That's how Jeff Bezos did it.